it was truly debilitating. So I saw physios, I saw chiropractors, I saw doctors, and I got even a variety of different surgeries trying desperately to find a cure for this pain, and I just couldn't find it. I was in the lowest place imaginable. I realized no one's going to help me. So I went and I pursued a degree in exercise physiology in the hopes of trying to get rid of this really terrible pain. And I finished my degree and I still wasn't able to find a solution. And about 5 years ago, I stumbled across a new perspective on pain. So that was a turning point for me, and that was really when the magic started to happen. It can be completely liberating. And I found so much passion in investigating this new science, almost like a detective, and it actually motivated me to pursue a degree in the clinical management of pain. So if pain is not an adequate indicator of tissue damage, then what is pain? This concept is very important to understand, especially on the road towards recovery. Hi everybody, my name is Alex and I'm really passionate about pain. And I know that must sound like the strangest thing to hear from somebody. I mean, who is passionate about pain? No one's passionate about pain. So the reason why I'm passionate about pain is because I'm a long-time pain sufferer, and pain has taught me more about myself than any other modality. It really took me on a long journey and forced me to really introspect. So like many of you who are watching this, I understand what it's like to suffer from chronic pain, and I know how absolutely debilitating it can be. I struggled with pain for about a period of, I'd say, 10 to 15 years, and it originated in one part of my body and gradually moved from place to place. And sure, I remember being quite young at the time, but I would see, a different health professional every 2 weeks. So I saw physios, I saw chiropractors, I saw doctors, and I got even a variety of different surgeries trying desperately to find a cure for this pain, and I just couldn't find it. And eventually I was so desperate that I realized no one's going to help me. So I went and I pursued a degree in exercise physiology. In my mind, I always thought my pain was a result of some biomechanical issue. And so I pursued exercise physiology in the hopes of trying to get rid of this really terrible pain. And there were times during my journey when, I was in the lowest place imaginable. And I remember that desperation of looking for a solution and not being able to find it. And I finished my degree and I still wasn't able to find a solution. It was truly debilitating. And about 5 years ago, I stumbled across some literature that introduced me to a new perspective on pain, a perspective grounded in something called a biopsychosocial model, which basically illustrates that pain is a result of not only tissue damage, but also as a result of the psychological and the social factors in our lives. So that was a turning point for me, and that was really when the magic started to happen. And I found so much passion in investigating this new science, almost like a detective, I would say. And it actually motivated me to pursue a degree in the clinical management of pain. So my own pain journey actually, I wouldn't say forced me, but provided the motivation to pursue a master's degree in pain management, which I haven't yet finished, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it and integrating all the concepts. So what's important for you to know? So I'd say from this journey, the most important thing that I can relay to you is that pain is a very unreliable indicator of tissue damage. So very often someone has pain and they think, no, I've damaged my knee, or I've damaged my arm, or my back is completely messed up. But that's not always the case. In fact, very rarely is pain ever an adequate indicator of tissue damage. So for example, in my case, there was absolutely nothing wrong. You could look on x-rays, I had MRI, CT scans, arthroscopies, but absolutely nothing wrong. But in other cases, you can have extreme damage of your body, but you can experience no pain. So an example of that is an interesting condition called congenital analgesia, which is quite rare in the population, but some people have it, and they can have significant damage, but they can have no pain. And actually, recently, I was watching a video about something called the Bullet Ant Festival, which is a coming-of-age ceremony in, I think it's a South American country. But many of those individuals, they would engage in this coming-of-age ceremony, and they would get bitten by many, many ants, and their skin would be damaged, it would be swollen, but they would experience, no pain. And similarly, in various different religious ceremonies, some individuals might walk across a bunch of coals and sustain burns to their feet, but they don't feel any pain. So the way I like to think about it is that pain and injury are very much like lightning and thunder, if you can think about it that way. So sometimes you can have thunder, but no lightning at all. In the same way, you can have pain, but no injury. And sometimes, you can have lightning, but no thunder. So you can have you can have injury, but you can have no pain. So this concept is very important to understand, especially on the road towards recovery. So if pain is not an adequate indicator of tissue damage, then what is pain? And this is really where the magic starts to happen, and where you can really begin to get curious and begin to learn a lot about yourself. So pain, as I've learned, is not something that's detected in your environment. It's rather something that's constructed at a much higher level. So it's something that's constructed in your brain, and it's constructed based on your body's perceived need for protection. So pain actually is your great protector. It's actually there to look after you. The way I like to think about it is that pain is this part of me that deeply loves me, that's a little bit ill-informed or not well-informed, and it's way too overprotective. So it's trying desperately to look after me. So you can think about it almost like an alarm system that's hyperactive. So I remember this one house that I previously used to live in. We had a variety of sensors everywhere. And the idea obviously was that if somebody came into the garden, a sensor would go off, an alarm would go off, and the security company would come to our house and sort out any issues. But what would often happen was the cat from next door would jump over the fence and set off the alarm. But a cat is not a threat. It's not an intruder of any sorts, or at least not to me. I don't really mind cats. But in a similar way to an oversensitive alarm system, my brain, or at least the part of my brain that generated the pain experience, perceived that I needed to be protected. And that certainly wasn't the case in my situation. I didn't need to be protective. So I ventured forth onto this journey to decrease this protective setting. And it's quite difficult initially, because you have to look and explore in some places that you initially wouldn't expect would help your pain. But once you embark on this journey, it can be completely liberating. There's a really lovely resource that I've used in the past, and it comes from a couple of really famous pain scientists. But one of them conceptualized pain as it's an experience that's distributed all around your brain. So many parts of your brain kind of work together to produce this protective output that we call pain. And pain is distributed or spread out in your brain the same way that your grandma is spread around your brain. So think about your grandmother, or think about your child, or think about anyone special to you. That person is distributed around your brain. So if I think about my grandmother, her cooking and the smell of her cooking is in one part of my brain. And the high ceilings in her house that I always remember, that's in another part of my brain. The way she smelt is in another part, and her smile is in another part, and that family holiday by the beach is in another part. So in the same way that my grandmother is spread all around my brain, pain is also spread all around your brain. So pain can be a result of, memories. It can be things in the past. It can be trauma. It can be things that you anticipate. It can be so many different things that combine and enter into a melting pot together to eventually produce the experience of pain. So this is so exciting, because if pain is influenced by so many things, that means that there's so many areas that we can intervene to have an impact on your pain and to reduce that protective setting. So I'm making this channel because I'm passionate about pain, and I really understand the journey of this experience that, it can really bring you down to your knees. It can bring you to the lowest places. But I promise you, if you have some perseverance and you are willing to promote or at least adopt an active coping strategy, one where you almost like a detective to work out what's going on, not only can you make things better, but you can learn so much about yourself that's transferable to other areas of your life that's not only pain. So I'm starting this channel so that we can do this together. So I like to implement actionable strategies every week to help listeners improve their pain. So we'll do something small every week. And the first thing we're going to do for this week is we're going to build on the target concept that pain and tissue damage are rarely related. So your homework is to go and to think about different scenarios in your life or in the life of other people where the amount of pain is not actually an adequate indicator of tissue damage. So think about a time when you had no pain, but you had an injury of some sort. I remember there was this one time at a party, for example, when I was having a wonderful, wonderful time, and someone pushed me into a table, and I had a big bruise on my knee, but I had absolutely no pain at the time. So that's an example from my life. So think about any examples from your life or the lives of anyone you know where you had a lot of pain, but no identifiable damage. And likewise, you can think about a time when you had no pain, but a lot of tissue damage. So think about that, write it in the comments, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you again and going on this journey together. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And if you'd like to learn more about pain, you're also welcome to explore my website called reframepain.org. Looking forward to chatting to you again and exploring more insights into pain and how we can recover together. Cheers for now.